You have to kick it if you want to kick it. No sense of humor, then we ain't with it. We watch all sports, yes, even cricket. We don't want to, but we like Chappy, and watching cricket makes him happy. You question our knowledge, we have a grip. We want to make money, yes, sponsorship. We accept it all from euros to dollars. If you want to pay us, holla, 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 hey. We got balls, we got balls, we got balls.
We got balls. We got balls. We got balls. Basketballs, baseballs, soccer balls, ping pong balls, grass balls, footballs, snooker balls. We got balls. We got balls.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We got balls. I am one of your hosts, Dmitri, aka Real Estate Poppy, and I have I don't want to say a lovely arrangement of co-host, as Dave looks at me like my mic is on fire.
I was checking out the sound on Station Head because you're multi-broadcasting. So
I am. Thank you for doing that. I guess I will go around the horn. We have the Godfather Kendall B.
Hey now.
His protege Dave J on the mic.
hola.
And the international man of mystery, Chappy. Hello.
Hello there. Hello, love.
Hello, Governor. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Oh,
We've
good.
got action. We've got action already. International soccer does not play. When it says we're starting at 3 Eastern or 8, whatever time, they're starting. There's no 10 minutes extra. The game is on. We're already starting.
Yeah.
So we're ready to go.
So
I'm so
which
excited.
team is yellow and which team is blue? That's what we're starting at.
Inter Milan is in yellow. PSG
Gotcha.
is in blue.
All right, we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah. If you look at the scoreboard, there's a yellow dot and there's a blue
Ah.
dot. I wouldn't
My
know
TV
neither. I
Is
had to
an
look up.
obnoxious way away from me.
How far are you away from your television?
An NBA three-pointer from the TV, and the TV's like 32 inches.
From way downtown.
Way down.
Maybe you should
How
get a
much
smaller
research
TV.
have you done, Dave?
I listened to you talk before the show. And from what I understand, the German team is young, and we don't like the Italian team. Is
There's
that
no
what?
There is no
Well,
German
first of all, there's no German team. Yeah, we didn't pay this guy, did we? I don't know.
No.
we did.
No. We've got
They're French.
Paris. We've got PSG from Paris, and we've got Inter Milan from Italy. So they're a team. The Inter Milan is in yellow, and PSG is in.
Yeah. Jermaine does not mean Germany.
So Jermaine Jackson versus PSG.
I'm even Collier's probably about to poop a brick because I said Jermaine instead of Jamal.
Germain.
Germain-
So Breezy
Paris
Man
Saint-Germain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's how you say it, or just say PSG if you don't
PSG.
want to try to be too fancy.
wasn't Gucci Mane in PSG? Wasn't that his crew?
The Pennsylvania State, whatever G stands for
Gunnery.
with incarceration.
That's right.
Governors. Yes.
Poor Chappy. He
So
might
how's
wanna
everybody
watch a
doing?
serious game with some
Yeah.
serious analytic thoughts.
This is not the place.
No, you know what? This is so great watching a game that you have no. I mean, I'm very interested, but I'm not tied to one of the sides. That's always the best. Is if you're watching your own team play, there's nothing worse than that.
We've
It's
seen
too much
that with
pressure.
Dave.
But do you have somebody you're rooting for, Chappy? Do you have a side that you'd prefer to see win for sentimental or geographical reasons?
Yeah, I don't. It's certainly not. It's certainly not either side. I really don't mind. I think it's going to be an interesting game because you've got the PSG side is average age like just over 20. The Italian side, Inter Milan, over 30. So you've got a really attritional Italian side against the young bucks, basically, with so much talent there. I think it's going to be fascinating to see, how Inter shuts PSG down when they're moving forward and those sort of things. So I'm trying to sound like the professional today. So that's, there's a lot of pressure on me. For you, Dave, I think you're just sitting here, cracking the jokes, roasting us all. Perfect for you.
Well, personally, I'm rooting for the old guys, right? Like the young guys have more chances. We got like the guys in their 30s. This might be their last. Like this guy's got a receding hairline like mine, so I'm rooting for him.
Well, one of the players just recovered from cancer. He's 37 years old.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I mean, it's there's two real stories today.
Mm-hmm.
This fella playing for Inter Milan, and then Luis Enrique, who's the manager of PSG. He took a break from international soccer because his young daughter died.
Mm-hmm.
So he's back. He was manager of Spain for a year. So this is great. I mean, this guy is a sort of Renaissance man. He goes out on the Parc de France where they're playing today, barefoot, just to feel that, get that sort of Zen feel. So it's an interesting game with, you've got the old guys against the young bucks. So much talent in PSG, so much money spent on that team, and they're much better without the prima donna Mbappe, in my opinion, anyway.
You said Renaissance.
Who went to Real Madrid.
Did you hear that? You might pick up on Renaissance, like a auntie at the cookout.
I got it.
Renaissance.
I heard it.
Renaissance was in Shalimar.
That's right.
Howard Hewitt, Jody Watley, and Renaissance.
That's right.
That's another swingers club that we attend in Mexico. It's a special one. Even high. It's 6 stars if you go there.
Chappy is the Chris Berman of the show today.
That's right.
I'm all right with that. I am.
So can we talk about the
and I know who Berman is, because he does golf as well on TNT. So that's how I know him. Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's a big guy, receding dark hair, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, he'd been
New York City. He's a real like East Coast guy, isn't he? New York City guy, I think, like that. So I like him.
This putt is going back.
Mumbling, stumbling.
What were you gonna say, Dave?
Can we talk about the pregame host, like the Mel B looking lady? Like I want to rummage through her garbage.
Leave her alone. She's mine.
Respectfully.
That's Kate Abdo or Abdo. Yeah. She has a new name now. She married some boxer. So
I want to chew on her toenails.
Is it?
She is so talented. Like she'll translate pre-game or post-game interviews in whatever language the players or coaches are speaking in. So I've seen her go from German to French to Spanish.
That's talent.
She's amazing.
We've got a free kick here for PSG. Hold on. Into the box. Nobody there.
Kendall, when you were doing the Rapids, would you announce that, or is that one of the things they told you not to talk about?
Oh no, it's quiet in the state. Hold on, wait a minute. Ball's in play. Wait, close. Okay. No. It took a effort from fans of MLS to get the MLS clubs to be less NBA, NHL, NFL, because when I started doing the public address for the Rapids, we were talking all throughout the match, and traditional soccer fans were like, "What the hell are you doing? You're interrupting the flow of the game." So eventually, they took out all that excess and put it all in the pregame and in halftime. So the only thing I would announce would be if there was a goal, if there was a yellow card or red card, or anything that was maybe an emergency during the game. If there was a lightning warning or bad weather approaching, those are the only things that I would announce in the middle of the game. But beforehand, I was doing all kinds of sponsorships. Every Chappy would probably throw tomatoes or whatever at me for this, because for every corner kick, the first season I did this, like, all right, fans, it's now time for your Chick-fil-A corner kick. Stand on your feet for your rapids. Oh, people would go insane for that. It's like, stop it. Just cut it out. Don't do that anymore.
The supporter section is flipping you off.
Right.
Monetize everything, right?
And Dave, thank you for catching Station Head. I just looked over and saw Fat Tony was looking for where we are on YouTube. I'm thinking, Fat Tony, you're the one who said you wanted us on Station Head.
He's the reason we're on. Does it sound bad maybe on Station Head?
I don't know. I hear a little slight echo, but I didn't want to say anything.
Oh, D. Casillas is here.
Hey,
how it's on Blast? I've got it on Blast as well, so I don't know how it sounds out of my Blast channel. I have no clue. It seems like it's working.
Yeah, I see it moving, so I'll just hope Creole Leo prayed for it.
Why do they let the goalies wear gloves?
Because
like, I know
they don't have their hands,
but like just use your regular ass hands.
Europeans use a lot of hand moisturizer, so we have very soft hands. So we have the big gloves on, and there's a nice velvet glove underneath as well, probably Louis Vuitton or something, I would say.
If they didn't use those Mickey Mouse gloves, they would all be Crips. You would just see them walking around like this.
I love the expert analysis, Chappy. Oh, sorry, I'm still in a relationship, so I need to go help with the groceries. I'll be back.
Oh, nothing like a grocery break in the middle of the action.
Yeah, he's Charles Barkley. He's terrible. He's terrible.
You know, I'd hope we might be able to get better ratings than Beckham today, but one of our hosts has just left to get the groceries in. I don't think we're going to be able to make it, guys.
You don't see Tom Cruise getting up in the middle of the game to get it. Isn't Tom Cruise is on with him, right? Isn't that what's supposed to be happening on Beckham's thing?
Yeah, I think he's everywhere. Well, he lives in London now, doesn't he? So I think he hasn't got like the faux Gwyneth Paltrow Madonna accent yet, like my ex-wife, but he's getting there. It's getting to that point, I think. But no, he's everywhere in the UK. Who else is on with Beckham then?
You know, I don't know. I'd have to go look. I'm not sure who else. I know there's another host on with him, so Beckham's not like leading the charge like when the Mannings do theirs. It's Peyton and Eli, and they really are the host of it. I know Beckham has another person who's kind of guiding the conversation.
I want to say hello to James from Pedro Bryson. Thank you for being on YouTube with us. If Kate Abdul was on with Beckham, I believe y'all right now and just go over there and watch them because she's my.
But would they show her?
You broker a threesome, wouldn't you? With those two. She's very talented, though.
Not with Tom Cruise. I don't know. That's a bit too far.
Well, I thought it was Beckham and the young lady. I didn't think about Tom Cruise.
No. It would have to be her and.
Oh, let's go! We've got to go.
I think this
PSG scores first.
Was that an own goal?
Did they call off? They didn't call offsides, did they? Like they.
I don't know. You're like way ahead of us.
Am I really?
I'm ahead of Kendall too because I saw it first, but I didn't want to say anything.
Dave was like, PSG won. Damn, you're that far ahead.
Like game over.
He was about to leave. He's about to leave.
I don't think he was offsides because Chappy, a defender needs to be behind him, right? Obviously you joked about explaining the offside rule, but a defender was behind the goal scorer, so that's not offside, right?
It went off his foot, off the inner guy's foot.
See, that looked good to me.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was
on the replay. That was a great pass.
Yeah.
Too. Great look. Yeah.
So the old guys are down 1. That puts them in a bad spot, right?
Well, a lot of the pundits are saying it's going to be like 3-1 or even more of a rout, But there's been some great games though. The last the PSG game. They defeated like Manchester City, Aston Villa, Chelsea. it's been a great tournament so far. Really, 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 really fun.
Now, what I was watching during doing research, a lot of the pundits said that if Inter wanted to be in the game, they would have to jump out fast, like because they're like you said, a little bit older, better defensively. It's better for them to get up 1-0 than PSG. So now they got to chase. Now they're down one, even though it's real early. They got to chase, and they better hope it doesn't go 2-0, or else it's going to be a problem.
Well, you've got a team that's, not a lot of teams just like I was watching the Europa League final, and Tottenham just sat on that goal for probably 45 minutes. PSG aren't going to do that. They're going to be even more expressive. There's going to be a lot of goals in this game, I think. So Inter Milan have to get back quickly, or we're going to have a problem. Now the gentleman who assisted Hakimi in getting the goal, Doa. He's a 19-year-old fella, real talent here. I mean, he could be the next superstar. So watch, you guys watching today, watch him, because he's got a lot of talent as a playmaker for PSG. So I think soccer when I first came over, there was no interest in the US with soccer back in 2000, and gradually it's getting more and more. And I think you had the pinnacle with like 2010, 2011. I think you got to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, the US side. And I thought it would kick on more than that, but it sort of remains stagnant, which is surprising to me.
Yeah, go ahead, Chappy.
No, I'm interested though from you guys though. What's holding soccer back from being? I mean, it's a worldwide game. A lot of us are watching it, but it hasn't hit that next level. I know you got the traditional sports, baseball, basketball, NFL. Why can't soccer just break through? Why can't it get through the wall?
I think it's because we started, well, as far as it may go, but I think it's like that because we grew up with basketball, baseball, football, and all of our best athletes play that. So I think I don't want to say hatred, but the dislike or the non-paying attention to of soccer that we grew up with, some of these people just they play in that area.
You know what else it is, Chappy, is, this generation that's coming up right now, their parents did not enroll them in football because of the concussion stuff. And you're seeing more and more kids involved in youth soccer. But as they get into the age of the advertising demographics, they're such a segmented market in terms of consumption that, it may be popular with that demo as much as any sport, but they're not consuming the media the same way that we did in the traditional manner. I think the popularity has skyrocketed in this country, but you're right, to get to the NFL, NBA level, we may not see that just because of the way the younger generation consumes media.
But you look at how good the ladies team, the women's team, unbelievable. The US women's side, because it seems like, and I know this having two daughters, seems like at schools they're really pushing the girls to play, and you're getting so much talent out there. And I mean, look at the success in the World Cup. Look at the heroes that are out there for the girls, the young girls out there to support. I don't think it's the same with men's soccer, men's football in the US. That's there's much more interest when it comes to NFL, basketball, baseball's going down, obviously, but those sort of games versus soccer for the men anyway.
I don't appreciate Pat making me define jingoistic.
I looked it up.
I wasn't even going to look at. I wasn't even going to try to bring that up.
It's a serious term, characterized by extreme patriotism, especially in the form of aggressive or warlike foreign policy.
And actually, that is a very good point by Pat, because I was going to say, I think it has something to do with America first, in a sense, because the players that we know, American soccer players, the good ones, they don't really play in MLS. And when you look at it, which is our main league, the the superstars that were born and raised and are on the U.S. national team, they play internationally. They play in Premier League. They play in La Liga. They play, they play in these other leagues across the world. So we don't get to see, quote unquote, our guys until it's time for them to play during the World Cup or any other kind of country competitions. So I think that has something to do with it. But I also think, Chappy, that it has a lot to do with our sports calendar being so ingrained, so enriched. We know that the fall is for football. The spring, spring into, late spring, when that winter, spring is basketball, and to a certain degree for most, hockey. And then the boys of summer in baseball. Whereas, and U.S. hasn't helped with the MLS and the soccer schedule either, because the international soccer schedule is what, from August till now. Soccer schedule here,
roughly
till May.
basketball season.
Just finished.
here in the US starts in February and goes through like, there's a lot of factors, and I agree with you. I for as long as I did the Colorado Rapids and did the public address, I could see it start ticking up, but then it ticks up for a little bit, then it mellows off. It ticks up for a little bit and mellows off. I think it's going to take and not just somebody like Messi, not somebody like Beckham, both guys who came into the MLS and took them up ratings wise and interest wise for a little bit, but it's going to take 10 to 12 well-known stars, whether they're homegrown or not, to be in that league and stay in that league for a long time in order for, I think, interest to really rise, because we're in the US, we're really about the superstars, it seems. Was that another goal? We got another goal. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
The onslaught's on. Oh my,
2-0.
PSG 14. Oh no. Oh no.
And that was the young fellow I was talking about. Do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's this could be 4 or 5. And to talking to Americans over the years about soccer, a lot of the time it's too slow. You play 90 minutes and it's 0-0, 0-0 at the end.
Well,
and I think that's part of the thing as well.
It's funny you say that, because Doreen and I started watching soccer during the South Africa World Cup, and I was working nights. So when I got home, I wasn't ready to go to sleep, and they were playing matches. So I kind of was like, oh, this is cool. And I saw the way they were running the field and everything, or running the pitch. And then when I went to my first MLS game, I was like, wow, this is a lot slower than I saw in the World Cup. And it's like comparing MLS, old MLS, to Premier League. Watching Premier League matches is kind of like watching a basketball game compared to MLS, at least to me, with the speed of the game and everything. And I know MLS has gotten a lot better, but I don't see our best athletes ever committing to that, because like Kendall said, our best athletes play overseas and they're gone by the time they're 11 or 12 years old, playing in their baby teams or whatever. So like, I never knew who Christian Pulisic was until a few years ago. Where if we were really ingrained in soccer, we would have known for a while.
Yeah, it's like comparing Formula One with a mobility scooter ride off at the Villages, isn't it?
Don't sleep on the Villages, though.
Chappy, another part of it is an understanding of the nuance of the game. When the Colorado Avalanche first came to Colorado, they won the Stanley Cup the first year, and actual hockey fans would remark that in McNichols Sports Arena, the crowd didn't always know what was a good play beyond a goal. So icing the puck or trapping in a zone, or you know what I mean? So understanding the nuances of the game, and Americans don't understand the other facets of the game beyond goal scoring that makes it fascinating. The matriculating to create a 4-on-3, the trapping on one side of the pitch, those other nuances that make the game interesting, where you can see the strategy, where you can see a team playing keep away from another team when they have a 2-0 lead. When you start to develop the understanding of those nuances, suddenly the game is more appealing. If you're just saying it's been 0-0 and we're on the 68th minute, yeah, it's not interesting if you don't understand the other aspect of what's going on there. So there's an education element to it, because baseball's boring, and even NFL football is boring if you don't understand the strategery.
It's like Ted Lasso when he was like, "Oh, you can go back to go forward." Okay. So, but it's funny that you said that, Dave, because I have prepared something for us. Called "You Don't Know Ish."
Oh.
And it's just rules of the game. Let me make it bigger so I can go through.
It's gonna be kindergarten for Chappy.
Yeah, I know. So these are your hosts. And I couldn't get rid of Dave's background, so that's apropos that he has on his basketball gear.
But
nice.
have you seen Dave's muscles in that AI picture? Seriously, he's rippling there.
Well, I took it from a real picture, so.
Oh, really?
Real.
But yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen your arms before, Dave.
Well,
and
when we first started following the Rapids, I was afraid of that too. I was like, I'm never going to get all these rules. Like, it took me a little while to understand offside. I mean, it seems really simple now, but yeah, when you're first getting into it, and maybe that's what turns people off, because they don't want to look stupid in front of their friends or whatever. I mean, I know we don't care about looking stupid on here because that's why we're doing this.
There you go.
But yeah, for the uninitiated, we don't call it a pitch. I mean, a field, we call it a pitch.
Right.
And then a match. I feel bad when I call it a match sometimes, because it feels like I'm trying to be upper crust instead of just saying a game.
Snooty.
Yeah.
You're the hill of the Wonder Bread. Don't worry, rep.
And maybe Chappy should explain it. He doesn't even have to read this. Or he's
I can't read for some reason. Yeah, I'm lifting my glasses up to be able to read it. These are meant to be read as a fixture, a scheduled match, referee. What do you call the official in is it like umpire? Would you call them, or
in baseball the umpires?
One in there. We know what a referee is.
Yeah.
Well,
this is a bit basic for them, Dmitri. I think. I mean, I think we're being condescending to our viewers and our listeners.
I don't know. I mean, I would have appreciated this when I first started watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
When 15 years ago, because a kit, I mean, we just call them jerseys.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough one.
I think the difference is the things that we are used to in the US, the names like when you're saying a uniform or a jersey versus kit or fixture. Like when I first started watching soccer, I'm thinking, what the hell's a fixture? It's like, that's scheduled next day. Okay, now I understand. But somebody who doesn't want to take the time to learn that, like, just talk to me in your own English, do that kind of thing. Which again, it could be another one of those things which for some they don't want to, dive into the extra things, especially when it gets into more of a European aspect of it, watching Premier League or watching broadcasters that will take those terms and not quote unquote Americanize them, I guess.
Yep. And that used to bother me at Rapids games, because when you would see people in the supporters section dressed up like they were from London or something, I'm like, dude, you live in Commerce City. You don't need to be wearing an ascot, and you're not drinking a pint, you're drinking a beer. Just calm down. Jesus Christ.
That was me. I was kidnapped, blindfolded with the ascot, and then woke up somewhere like 5 hours later with a sore bottom. So I don't know what happened there.
You're like, Jim, is Jim here?
Exactly.
Chappy, can you talk a little bit about your youth and exposure to football and your love and your understanding? Like, what are your earliest memories of it, and what kind of fueled your passion?
I think so. I played rugby more than football, soccer back in the day. So I played a little bit as a goalkeeper and defender, but we play rugby a little bit more. So I mean, I think different schools across the UK, most of them play soccer. Either at the school, or they're playing in the backyard, they're playing in the street. I mean, there's so much of that. That's why there's so much talent, I think. But it wasn't a sport that I really grew up with, and it was only watching soccer over the years with my grandfather, who was very passionate supporter of England and Norwich City, because I grew up near Norwich. Became a Tottenham fan in about 91 when they won the FA Cup, and we had some great players, like real characters, Gary Lineker, Paul Gascoigne back in the early 90s. And that sort of fueled it for me, because they were playing like a different sort of game. I mean, they didn't care about, letting in goals. They were playing an attacking game. To dare is to do. That's the motto. So I grew up. I saw them play at Carrow Road in Norwich, Tottenham, and that's where my love really started. But it's watching England games over the years, and we're like gluttons for punishment. We haven't won a huge trophy since '66.
Okay.
But yeah, every time there's a big tournament, whether it's the European Championships or the World Cup, people get behind the team, and we sort of almost get there, but not quite. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And I think it was that. It's just you go down the pub, you watch a game. In the UK, I know the bookmakers are legal here, but we used to go and put a bet on when we were in college, on sports and stuff. So it's that sort of tradition where you go and have a Sunday roast dinner, a roast lunch, and then you watch the soccer as well. It's a real traditional type of family sort of activity, family and friends activity. Rugby reminds me of the intense game of hot potato. I think the double doctor would like to handle some of those gentlemen's hot potatoes, I'm sure.
Actually, they're a little warm. And welcome, Kaleo, to the show. I hope.
Can I ask you, Dave? Though, have you ever seen a soccer game before today? Have you ever watched the full 90 minutes? Okay.
Obviously, this is like being. Like watching the Olympics, but I love the World Cup. I love the energy of the World Cup. It's understandable for me, because I think one of the barriers for me is understanding all the different leagues and the different implications. It's fascinating though. I have gone to a couple of Rapids games. I have never seen a goal. Both games I went to were 0-0, so I've never seen a goal in real life. But I've grown an appreciation of the sport. I know I crack jokes and whatnot, but I do see the beauty in it, and I see why it is so popular. And I also love the fact that globally it's so accessible, because, hockey can only be played by a certain upper crust, as Rep would say, type of person. But, soccer can be played by everybody. There's 7 billion that have access to playing soccer. You just need some semblance of a ball and some semblance of a field, and you can have some fun with that. So I think I appreciate the accessibility of it.
I think moving forward, if this becomes a regular feature with rotating guests, you always need one guest who knows nothing about the game. I think it makes it much more entertaining. Like when there's a basketball playoff, I'll gladly sit there and you can explain to me
final start
everything about it.
Oh, right. What are we doing for the NBA Finals?
Let's do one game with Chappy.
And get you some tassels to. Oh, Chappy, if you noticed the kit that I am wearing, this is my wee Scottish team that I bought into.
Yeah, whose grandma's couch is that design from?
Yeah, man, but are you wearing a kilt and no drawers? Oh. That's what we need to know. If you were a true owner. Oh, lovely. Glad it's keep the camera up then. If you don't mind.
I shall. I don't want you to see my
the eye line. Yeah, that's why they have the sporran, though, you see, because the sporran weights down the kilt. If there's a lot of wind, if you didn't have the sporran, which is the little purse in front of the old boy, the kilt would lift up. So you put a heavy like flask in there. So if it blows, it won't blow up so easy. So you're not going to show off your.
They have to have a flask with them to remember when grounds.
It always has to be full as well. Yes.
When the wind blew it up, you're like, I'm just going what my mother gave me, or what the good Lord gave you, whatever.
Yeah, the wind blows high and the wind goes low. There's always wind in Scotland, so you need a heavy sporran to keep that kilt down.
So, Chappy, what's the social hierarchy in the UK? Who are the Mexicans of the UK?
Hey, whoa, that got deep fast.
Okay, and thank
Yeah.
you guys.
Hey,
We will
hey,
see you
we're-
next UEFA champion.
Good night, everybody.
Jeez.
You better
Okay.
get View out here to clean that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a real problem here. This is simulcast on several different platforms. I've been advertising it here. So
Who's the Alabama of the UK?
Too late now.
Who's the
yeah. Have we got any?
all
Have
of
we got any? Have we got any Scots listening here? You know, probably. No, I think I don't know. All of our brethren are equal in the UK. That's
Come on, Prime Minister.
So how many evenings have you spent in Brixton just hanging out?
There's got to be a pecking order. Everybody's got a pecking order, right?
That's where you have a knife and a brass knuckle in your sparring if you were around Brixton. Well, but no, I think that it's like there are parts of Brixton, and I have spent time in Brixton because I've seen cricket at the Oval, which is right by there.
From.
But you know, if you can live in Brixton, I could survive in Caprini Green as well. And I've told you that story before. I've got past there, but
yeah,
I think it's
Green.
it's grim up north, though. Let me put it that way. The further north you get, the weather gets worse, and also the attitude, and it's a little bit more moody up north as well. So you want to bring your 50 cuffs up north. But the trouble is also people like to fight in the UK.
Yeah.
So you know the pub culture, the boozers are open all the time, and you have to be careful because I went to college in Portsmouth. That's a rough part of the South. There's places there. There's a lot of skinheads, and we one of my buddies called the skinheads a nasty term, and we ran into the pub. The landlady locked the door, and these guys are banging on the door. And then 3 hours later, we came out a little bit worse for wear. They'd been waiting the whole time.
Oh my goodness!
And we were cruising for a bruising. And one of my friends, the guy who said that, he had a broken eye socket after that one. So, but you see fights all the time, and there's places where you just wouldn't go at night, and Portsmouth's one of those, rough in the South.
Chappy, can I ask you a really stupid soccer question? Just this is newbie day one.
Yeah. Go on then.
In theory, could a goalkeeper catch the ball and run it to the other side of the field and just drop it in? Like, why can't the goalkeeper just run with the ball to the other side and just put it in the goal?
Well, you can only have in your hands for a certain amount of time. That's not colloquial talk. That's
Could you like dribble it and then reset the time and then go down, matriculate down?
Well, at the end, you see the goalkeeper moves up at the end of the game. If they're trying to score a goal, everybody goes into the box, including the goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. So they can do that, but they can't run up the field like a an American football player, a rugby player. It's they can handle the ball, they can stop the ball going into the goal, but they can't put it under their armpit and just skedaddle down the pitch there.
All right. I'm just curious.
Dave, you will see the opposing keeper get caught sometimes sneaking up, and they'll kick the ball over his head. He can't get back. Tim Howard has scored like that when he played for Everton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually saw that.
Yeah.
So
I always wonder why in hockey they didn't just put like the fattest guy in goal. Like,
I was going to ask that on here. I wrote that down.
Like just roll his ass out there.
Put a sumo wrestler in goal, in net or whatever, and then because they're flexible too, so you get the fatness and the flexibility.
Fatness and the flexibility.
I think hockey is so. I mean, you do have to have that agility on skates, so it's tougher for. I mean, you have to have that agility, but also the strength of in your ankles and feet in order to slide back and forth, because the goaltenders in hockey and in soccer, they're very athletic by the in the quick cat-like moves, but for hockey, I would imagine
Yeah, but
They're
Kendall,
not going to move that fast if they're that big. You just got to sit there in front of the goal.
you just forklift one of Dr. No's patients, right? The ones that take the freight elevator, and you just drop him in front of the goal, and you just say lay sideways and do this.
But I mean, I'm supposed if you did have a fatty in goal though, he'd have to have the padding on as well.
Even
So I mean,
better.
that would make him even more restrictive. But yeah, he could lay down eating a burger horizontally, right? He goes over that.
Tried. I'm just saying, why haven't we tried it?
Well, I have a serious hockey question. Why do they let them fight?
Because they're white.
That's all. That's that tracks.
Scene.
It's funny because it's actually seen as like virtuous in hockey. Yeah. You're a thug if you do it in basketball, but in hockey, like they have people on the team that are specifically there to fight.
Goons. Yeah, they got goons. That's what they call them. I hope that's still politically correct. Call them goons.
Well, I think the one time the black guy tried to fight somebody, he like cut him with a skate or something and killed the person. And I'll research that. I'll get my crack team to research.
Get the crack team on it. What's interesting about hockey and fighting is that it is still something you see in the NHL in the regular season. It's a thing to man up and fight and do this and that. When it gets to right now, Stanley Cup Finals, there are no fights because they're trying to get the cup and they don't want to take on any stupid penalties, anything like that. You don't see fights in the playoffs, which is amazing to me. Like something clicks in them, say, "Okay, we're not going to be out here fighting while we're trying to get to the championship." There have been no, as far as I can remember this season, this playoff, no knockout dragouts. Now there may be a little bit of, hey, back off of me type of situations, but nobody's dropped gloves to go. So
what I love is that they'll negotiate at face-off. Like, hey, we're gonna go. You want to go? Mm-hmm. Go. Yeah, let's go. And it's not vitriolic or angry. It's just like
it's like boxing.
Let's fight. Okay.
And then the refs are just watching. They're standing there like doo, 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 just making sure nobody
and they skate around them. Like, yeah,
they don't want to get hurt. Smart that way for them.
But you can't fight in soccer, right?
But you can't use the you can't use the hockey stick though when you're fighting in hockey, can you? That's not that wouldn't be allowed. Oh, you can
drop everything.
No, you got to drop.
Oh, they do.
And then they punch each other in the helmet, which just hurts their hands.
So, how many substitutes can they have? Because if you have like 4 guys like beaten down, and you've got another 40 minutes of the game to play, can you substitute as many as you want? Or
typically you have 4 or 5 lines of 5 guys, right? So there's 20 guys.
Yeah, it just depends. Yeah, just because unless it is an egregious, like really over the top fight, you're not going to get kicked out of the game. You'll get a penalty. You'll get a 2-minute minor or a 5-minute major or whatnot to get. And you really have to try in hockey to get a 5-minute major. It has to be something that is really, really bad. And if, say, for instance, 2 players from one side are down and 2 players from the next, because that's what it turns out to be, then you're just kind of free skating your 3-on-3 action. And actually, it's the hockey is better when there's fewer players on the ice because it's more wide open. So if you've got a 3-on-3 going on, or if it's 4-on-3, it's more action for at least those 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how many people get roughed up. But the hockey, unlike soccer, if there's somebody that gets a penalty or gets kicked out, you're not down a man for the entire game.
Okay.
You're in soccer, if you get red carded, then the whole team's down 1 player. But for hockey, you just find the next guy down and bring him up because they're going to play competitively for the majority of the match or the majority of the game, not just that time period.
Now, how common are red cards? Is it a rarity? Because I imagine it really does put your team at a disadvantage.
A straight red, I think, is a rarity, but I mean, you can get 2 yellows, that equals a red, and you get kicked out. So, and accumulation too. If you get so many yellows over a certain amount of time,
Who's the Draymond Green of soccer?
It was Mario Balotelli, wasn't it? And that's why
Yeah,
I don't like the Italian league so much, because they're the most, I don't want to say racist, but racist league out of the ones that I follow, because they would like throw bananas at them. I would be mad too.
It's weird that they have to do the like PSA. This is a racial free zone.
I'm trying to think of the guy who used to go around biting people. He was Suarez, Luis Suarez. Yeah,
Inter Miami.
He drew blood many times, but he was a biter. That was his kink, you know.
You bit
Does he
me.
still
What
play
is
for
that?
Inter Miami?
I think he is, right? Yeah, Suarez.
I think, I think so. I'm surprised he's still playing, but he was like the least popular person in the locker room at any team he played. I mean, he was an arrogant little so and so. But do you think hockey's the most violent of the games? It must be there if they allow the fighting. I mean, because like you don't see fighting that much in soccer. In rugby, you can't tell what's going on. If you're in the scrum, somebody could be pulling your bollocks, and you don't know exactly. You know, the scrum breaks apart, and somebody's like, you know, laying on the floor because he's had his balls pulled.
That's what DKC is like. She's like, ooh, Jesus Christ.
She wants to be a referee, bending down and having a look in there in the scrum.
She's like, we got balls.
You know, Chappy, I think from a physical violence, not in terms of like, you know, fisticuffs, but I would say NFL, and part of it's because they don't train the kids correctly. I think if they didn't give kids face masks for the first like 15 years of playing, there'd be so much fewer head injuries, because these kids lead with the top of their heads. And that's why you have, you know, this issue with CTE and concussions that I'm guessing also exists maybe in rugby, but not to the same extent, because you teach people to not lead with their foreheads.
Well, I remember in rugby, a concussion when I was playing football. It was always, you got your bell rung, right? And that was it. So
take it off.
That's what these stars are.
Yeah, I only lasted 1 year in organized football. It was so hurt. It hurt. I didn't like it.
Yeah, in rugby, you have to tackle at the knee level with your shoulder. You can't do, you know, neck tackles or anything. You're being sent off if that happens. You know, so it's a little bit safe, but there's no padding or anything, so you can get nastily concussed if you have a bad tackle and your head hits the ground or whatever. Then it's it can be very serious, but nothing like the NFL, even with all the protective equipment, I imagine.
Whereas rugby players, when they do get hurt, they just put duct tape on it and wrap it up, and then they start playing again. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Keep it
There's
pushing.
no way I could do this.
Yeah, Gorilla Glue and duct tape. Yeah. You've got an open wound, just hold that together.
I was lucky to hold the parabolic microphone on the sideline at the Broncos games a few times, and watching the speed and the ferocity at which is played. There's a notion that you have when you play athletics as a kid, like if I had really applied myself, maybe I could have made it. And you see the skill and the speed, and there was something very affirming of like, oh no, I'm not this type of human being. Like, there's no training for this kind of car accident 65 times in a game. It's a gladiator sport that's just other level.
There's a gear and a mindset that the majority of us don't have.
I was like, there's no way. There's not enough creatine in the world.
No.
So Dave, I was thinking back to when you said you went to the Rapids game and didn't see a score.
Yeah.
And Chappy out had another piece of the story. The reason I'm an Arsenal fan is because that was the Rapids sister team, because Kroenke owns both of them. Mm-hmm. So I just naturally gravitated to Arsenal. But they played a game one time. I can't remember who it was, but we had this Arsenal cannon in the corner. And every time we scored, they would fire the cannon. They ran out of shots for the cannon. They scored so much. I think it was like 6 or 7 goals.
Yeah.
And then I loved that part of the Rapids. But then we played a game that was so bad. I was watching on altitude and they played a commercial. I'm like, I've never seen a commercial in the middle of a soccer game.
Oh my goodness. Somebody messed up badly with that one.
It was like Frank Azar, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, we were getting our asses kicked, but my first and only time ever seeing a commercial in a soccer game.
Well, that's what I was saying too.
I mean-
For the longest time, by the way, we're at half. People's like,
Yeah,
why are you talking about the game?
2-0.
Because it's 2-0. And PSG almost got a third goal on the corner kick there. It was for a while, for a good while, the American broadcasters, American game presenters, as it were treating Major League Soccer like it was basketball or baseball, because they just didn't know. They just figured, well, it's it's still sports. We have this, so let's do it this way. Let's take a commercial break. Nobody's scoring, so let's cut away and go for 30 seconds. No, you don't do that. You run all your ads on the little tiny box on the screen, and you flip them around, and then you run the majority. And that's what the advertisers in Europe and in South America and Mexico, they understood that early on. In America, they didn't understand that early on, but then they started to learn. It's like, okay, this is how we have to do it. And of course, with the proliferation of things on the internet and being able to see other games and broadcast on satellites, like, oh, this is how it's done there. So let's do it that way. That'll be better.
That's why Gus Johnson got fired. He was screaming all through all of the.
Yeah, Gus Johnson is goated. That's a miss.
Gus Johnson was great. He is great, but they hired, when Fox hired him to do their soccer, I thought, I don't know if that's going to be the best thing, because most of the soccer broadcasters, I won't say they're muted, but there's a certain level that there was Gus who was here, and he's mellowed a little bit over the years, but Gus might have been too much. There's even another guy. Yeah, there's another guy that Fox Sports had hired as their main guy, Max Bredas, and Max was kind of that way too. And Max rubbed people the wrong way when he was doing broadcasting, just because he was also that energetic guy. And some people like, yeah, dial it back a little bit, Max. You're doing a bit much. But some people liked him, some people hated him, which is why he kind of has gone up and down. So it takes a certain tone, a certain person, I think, to really impress the more cultured or experienced soccer fan.
And I love Gus, but he's like, they're getting a corner kick. Gus, come on, man.
Chappy, is there one go-to broadcaster for the major UK matches? Is there a goated announcer that's kind of the Mike Breen or whatever, the Marv Albert of the UK?
A lot of them have retired recently, though, that have been going on for years and years. John Motson, Barry Davis, some of these guys had been announcing for about 20, 30 years, more than that even. So there's sort of a young crowd. The trouble is it's never on one channel. I mean, some of the games are on Sky Sports, owned by Fox. Some of them are on the BBC. Some are on ITV, which is one of our main terrestrial channels. So it gets a little bit difficult. So that some of these broadcasters move from one to the next. I don't think I've ever heard an American broadcaster announcing soccer over here say touchdown, though. I've heard some pretty bad calls over my time listening, and it just doesn't. I know they brought a lot more Brits and foreign announcers in over the years that make it sound a little bit more authentic to me. And then you've got the ex-players who are announcing as well. But yeah, I mean, it's like anything. Like one of our most infamous situations on the soccer field was the '86 World Cup when Maradona handled the ball and the ref didn't see it. And yeah, exactly. Yes. It was England against Argentina in the quarterfinals in '86. And that's like one of the most infamous commentary calls from Barry Davis I've heard, but the ref didn't see it. So, it's these sort of time. I mean, I'm sure we've all over the years, we have sporting moments that we remember where we were when that happened. I remember where I was, with my grandfather watching soccer. And that's the great thing about it, is those memories, isn't it? It's like when you hear a song, you know where you were when you heard that song the first time. It's like with sport, it's the same sort of thing for me. Where were you when Tiger Woods won the Masters first time, or England won the World Cup, or these events are sort of cut into our minds and memories, really.
Did you have local broadcasters, like, because we're here in the States, obviously we have national broadcast of games, basketball and baseball for the most part. You have people that are right there that are every single game. And I know like Premier League is a little bit lesser than that as far as the number of games. But did you have like local broadcasters maybe on radio that like followed the team throughout every match, and you would go to them?
Yeah, I mean, our local, the local team where I grew up, Norwich City, we had a broadcaster called Roy Waller. He did afternoons on BBC Radio Norfolk, and then he would also call the Norwich City games as well. And it's interesting because he had a real sort of regional accent as well. If you didn't come from there, it'd be difficult to understand him. But that's part of the beauty of it, the beauty of radio versus TV. And I still today love listening to play-by-plays on the radio.
We're going to do a segment. It is so good.
Sorry.
You just hearing he's just looking at his fantasy there again.
I was trying to set the table for something after you talked about the announcers. I wanted to show Dave something.
Kendall, talking about the radio TV split, we kind of talked about Kevin Harlan in our last get together, and he used to do, I don't know if he still does, the NCAA tournament, the men's basketball tournament on radio.
On the radio, yep.
And it was other level. I mean, it's the best I've ever heard by far.
Yeah. We are going to do a segment about breast.
I found about breast. What? I found him on Facebook and sent him a note. It was like, this, your work on the NCAA tournament. And I didn't expect to get a response from him. And talk about the most humble and kind and friendly person. Like, he engaged in this conversation about broadcasting, and I wasn't really anybody. I was not that I am anybody now, but he was just so gracious and friendly, and being able to talk to him about that was just insane. But you're right, Chappy. There's the level of description and knowing what to put in and what not to put in, and
it's painting a picture, isn't it? It's it's so fun though if you're out and about, like on a beach or in a park or something in the summertime, turning on the amount of soccer games I listen just on the radio, cricket, which is a slow game like baseball. So it's the characters on the radio that are painting the pictures and interacting and having that banter. It makes it glorious listening, that. And I still love listening to play-by-play on the radio of a lot of different sports, whether it be soccer, tennis, golf, all of them. I really love that approach, and somebody just, some of these announcers are just very poetic, and I really like that.
All right, Rep, what you got for us?
Well, I was trying to talk Chappy into going to this game with me one year. Let's just play it and then we'll talk about that after.
Unfortunately, we do feel that you have consistently proven that you can't stay professional in these segments where we're talking about breast. So production would like to ask you, are you comfortable with just staying silent whilst we...
Come on, Kay, I can do this.
No, we really think it's for the best. We think it's for the best.
About it.
Not a word, just silent,
I can't say one
invisible, no laughs, Is that okay? Can we agree? Can we agree?
You can't trust me?
No, we can't. Experience has taught us not to trust you in this area.
Trust me, I know.
I'm sorry. No. If you could just agree and we can move on with the segment, please.
All right.
Thanks very much. All right, so after 4 games, who here likes breast? Like breast?
No.
You do too?
I like the shape of them.
Yeah.
No, I do. I mean, you look at the setup from the manager he's got,
Nice
plays back
setup,
and forth.
Nice
He's
setup.
going to front 2 tonight?
Yeah, two big pair up front that are going to try to trouble.
Just work off each other.
Yeah.
I'm interested. How much do you enjoy watching them? Would you pay to watch them?
I have done.
But basically, one thing that you can say is you don't have to be big. You can be small and compete.
That's interesting. Good. Do you think Brest could get exposed tonight?
I hope so.
I guess one of the things you have to wonder is
What is this nonsense? HR! Wow!
what do you reckon,
That was
Mikey?
hard.
Do you think Barcelona could come a bit quickly for Brest tonight?
Whoa, I think it might have crossed the line.
I'm not, you're trying to get me sacked! I'm taking the 5th.
Let's have a serious conversation, shall we? Give us your take on Brest. Seriously, Micah. Staying silent. Okay.
So yeah,
That's
and this
excellent.
is humor I wouldn't have understood if not for soccer.
That's excellent.
There was a segment when Michael was like, what about when Nice plays Brest? And that's where you get nice Brest when and that's the game I want to go to. But Collie said no.
No, I'm open for it. But you have to remember, in France, things are a little bit smaller over there, so you may not appreciate it as much.
It was like Thierry Henry said, you can be small and still compete.
So
Yeah,
you're waiting for the schedule to come out for Brest FC for next year, huh?
I am. I'm going to get a jersey. Sorry, a kit. They actually sent Micah, I think they sent the whole team on that show Brest jerseys.
That's funny.
Because they're like the Inside the NBA crew. They remind me so much of them. And I just go back and watch their old clips because when I'm having a bad day, it brightens me up. Because I know in that crew, I would be Micah and probably eventually fired.
Did he get fired? Is he?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
No,
Not
he's very charismatic and very funny. It's a lot of the soccer that's covered in the US is a little dry. So I mean, I really appreciate what those guys do. They lift it up to another level. And Thierry Henry has a very dry sense of humor as well. I like him.
Yeah.
I actually got to see him play when he was with
too.
the Red Bulls.
Yep, I did too. Mm-hmm.
This segment brought to you by Purple Sports Drink.
Oh,
Purple, the official flavor of rhythmic athletes.
That's lean. Stop lying.
I think some of
Chantel
the broadcasters here in the US for soccer, I mean, like you say, they walk that line because they don't know what they can get away with and what people are criticizing them about, because we already have that reputation of not necessarily quote unquote taking soccer seriously from those years before when you would go to commercial in the middle of the match or whatever. So they try to walk that line. So it's good to see people, and obviously this is, what they've picked for, the Champions League and the broadcast on Paramount and CBS. They picked a very good team to do that.
And I think that team, like people like that, is what could potentially open soccer up to us because, I mean, it feels like we're just having fun. It's not as snooty as people may think it is. Like the Rapid supporters that wear the Apple caps and the ascots and the tweed. You're wearing tweed in the summer, sir? You're wearing tweed in the summer. It's
and they're being
really
ironic, right?
them.
They're not trying to be classy, but yeah.
No, you would be surprised. It looks like we're in the middle at a Rapids game. Like when I first started going, I was like, is this Oliver Twist? Why are all these people dressed like this?
So Chappy, from like an actual, I guess, approach for, is it Interpol? Who are they playing? Inter
Milan.
So what is Interpol's strategy? You're down 2-0. Like, how does a team, I mean, that's a pretty big hole, but it only takes a couple of, fortunate plays to turn that around. How do you strategically approach the second half? if you're in their position? How do you gain possession of the ball? Do you take risks? What is kind of the thought process if you're down like this in a game of this magnitude?
I think they're going to have a really hard time, though, because if they start being a little bit more expressive and moving people forward, they're going to let a team that's so attacking, so creative, score other goals up the other end. So Milan generally, as I said, are very sort of attritional, very sort of stodgy sort of defending, but they don't, against other teams, they don't let goals in very much. So they're going to probably, I would say, substitute, bring, maybe change the formation, bring another forward up front, and try to disrupt. But the problem is on the counterattack, that was their strategy in the first half. They would maybe get a goal on the counterattack. Now they're 2 down against a team that has potential to score maybe 3 or 4 more goals against them. They're in real trouble. I don't see a way back.
So, Chappy, do you generally advocate staying the course, staying with what got you to this position, or do you advocate adjusting and becoming more aggressive because you have literally the championship to lose?
Well, you have to, exactly. It's the last game. There's no second chances here. Like in the games before this, something that people may not know, they have 2 legs. So they play one game of 90 minutes. And home, and then they play another 90 minutes away over 2 weeks. So you have a chance if you're down to get back into the game the next week, as long as you're not too far down. Here, balls to the wall, 2-0 down. They're going to have to pull something out of the bag here that they haven't been doing. I mean, they're a very disciplined, most of the time, Inter Milan, very disciplined side. Very defensive side, typical of Italian sides, and getting back into this game is going to be very challenging for them. This could be 4-5-1 by the end of the game, the way it started, from what I've seen so far, and they've got nothing to lose. PSG are going to be even more expressive this second half.
Yeah,
and what I like is PSG. They still have their foot on the gas. They're not parking the bus like some people.
They just
might.
started right now. Yeah, they just got it up the field right now and had a nice shot on goal.
I wonder what happened at Kaleo's kids' soccer match. Did you see his comment? The blood pressure sky high.
Some mom probably pulled her. Never mind.
I was just like probably just watching kids play soccer because that's stressful enough.
But I wonder, Kaleo, I wonder if he's at the age where the kids are just a huddled mass that walk down, they play on the field together, or are they actually playing real soccer at this point?
You're like everyone, the cat following the light. Everyone just following.
See, Tony's got the same kind of analytic questions that I have.
Yes,
his blood pressure is so high now, Caleb. As one of the little boys probably struck the ball into his testicles or something, and he's keeled over at the moment. I would imagine.
Bertha put too much fat back in the greens. That's why his blood pressure is high. PSG is in blue, Tony.
Yeah, PSG is in blue, and then. Inter's in yellow, which was at the beginning of the week was the not so much controversial, but it was very talked about. Like what kit would PSG or would Inter wear, and they chose this is like their 3rd or 4th kit or something, right, Chappy?
So they don't have like basic colors, but they
do. But this is like the Nuggets or somebody wearing the 3rd or 4th kit.
Oh, this is their street, their city jerseys.
There's a lot of superstition as well, like in any sport. Like what shirt, what jersey you're going to wear, come the finals. And in international, we're like with England. When we won the World Cup years ago, we were red. Nowadays they wear white with the 3 lions on more, and they don't wear the red jerseys anymore. Some teams have just that sort of lucky jersey that they've won before that they may pull out for the final, and then sometimes you've got 2 teams with similar colors, so one of them has to lose the preference of the jersey for that particular game.
So, Chappy, Super Bowl 50, the Broncos opted to wear their white jerseys because they had lost 5 Super Bowls in their orange and had never won in orange, so they opted for the white for Super Bowl 50. They had the option, even though it normally just rotates. They deferred. They were like the first team to ever defer the jersey choice.
Like those
That's the
crappy
beauty
ass
of sport.
Thanksgiving jerseys the Cowboys wear.
Yeah. Oh, that's the beauty of sport, though, isn't it? I don't know if you guys, I've got some jerseys that I wear for years and years. I've worn this one, but England never won when we wearing the jerseys. I just tossed it away, And now, like the other day, I was so busy at work when Tottenham were playing in the afternoon. I wanted to sit down and watch the game. I thought, should I put the Tottenham jersey on? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wear what I want. And in the end, it doesn't make any difference at all. But the armchair supporter always thinks putting that jersey on, putting the lucky jersey on, or the drinking out of the lucky cup is going to make any difference at all, and it doesn't. But we all have those superstitions and traditions as sports fans, I think. That's what I love about it.
Kendall, Poppy, you guys got any of those superstitions? Anything that you do or don't do?
I used to. Now I've not so much. I've become numb to sports because I'm still excited about it, but I'm not as stressed as I used to be. And I think, as mentioned before, it is really tough for me to watch my teams play, especially in the big games. And Chappy mentioned it earlier. Watching a match like this, where you don't really have involvement fan-wise, it is much better to watch. But there would be times where I would sit on the couch watching a game, and the team would go up to a certain point, and I would freeze. Like whatever position I was in, if there was like a 10-0 run for basketball, or my team was playing, where like I'd sit in a position. It's something like as minuscule as how am I holding my hand? Is my thumb like right here? And I would sit there and not even like move my hand or move my thumb because the team is playing so well. Wow. And if things change, like if I had to like scratch or something and the other team scores, like, oh snap, let me put my thumb back the way it was.
Wow.
It's really, really dumb, but it worked sometimes it didn't,
Well, Tony said Oregon football sucks when they play in all white. Well, they have like 22 uniforms, so they can easily get out of that rut.
Mm-hmm.
And then James said lucky hat or lucky shirt over a season. That's like in the playoffs when players don't shave.
Yeah.
Playoff beard. Yep, basically.
I know Karl Malone wouldn't change his socks until they lost. He would wear the same socks until they lost.
Or until Vanessa Bryant said yes to him.
Right.
I can't stand Karl Malone.
Yeah. Didn't he also impregnate like an 11-year-old or something?
I don't know if she was 11. I think she was like 13.
No,
that doesn't make it any better.
A lot better.
And then when his son met him, he was like, well, you're grown now and there's nothing I can do for you. His son actually went to the NFL, I think.
Did you ever hear the story of Dr. J's daughter?
Mm-mm.
Dr. J's daughter met him for the first time in Orlando. And she's like, hi, I'm your daughter. And he's like, would you like a signed basketball?
Oh, dear. Well, going back to superstition, though, the great UK golfer Nick Faldo, he cheated on his girlfriend, and his girlfriend put one of his lucky irons through the porch window. And it broke, so wasn't so lucky in the end. Wow. But that that sort of thing. Exactly.
The Escalade.
She chased him down the road, didn't she?
I'm like, leave that man alone. Look at what he's been able to accomplish by being who he is. Wait until he retires, then beat him up. You've ruined a legend. And for what? You would have been all right.
Yeah, after he stopped playing around, he started getting all those injuries in, didn't he, as well?
Yep.
He was
wrecking cars.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
When he was stretching his back out in the 19th hole afterwards, he was a top player.
Yeah. He was running through Denny's waitresses like by the pound.
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't Perkins?
It was probably both. IHOP,
Probably.
Waffle House. Nah, Tiger wasn't a Waffle House type guy.
No.
Village Inn.
Yeah,
Village Inn.
Yeah.
Marie Callender's.
We have a sub.
Le
We have 2 subs, I think, for Inter. They're trying to, I think, I would imagine when you sub at this particular point, you're down 2-0. You're trying to get as as offensively minded as possible. So
You send Billy Blanks out there with a gun like in Last Boy Scout.
pew pew.
So Chappy, if you go like to an NBA game and you're dressed in full uniform, you're silly. Like, can you go to a soccer game in a full kit?
Oh yeah, people normally just wear the jersey though, and some jeans or something. I mean, that's a normal. But I mean, I have seen people go.
Okay.
I think most of the time you have to remember the weather's worse in the UK, so you need some like warm pants on or something. But most people have the jersey that they sell for like exorbitant amounts of money online. So I was at Park Meadows the other day, and there's a little mini soccer stall there, and as you're going walking around, and I went and asked the guy if they had any Tottenham jerseys. He said no. A few years ago there was some interest, but we don't sell them anymore. This was like a few days after they won. But he had everything else. I mean, he had Inter Milan, he had PSG, he had Arsenal, Manchester United, all the other ones. But it's really taking off. I mean, the guy says he sells a lot of these jerseys every day, because a lot of the kids are there seems to be more of an interest now, which hopefully will push things forward. And, I think it would take a US team maybe getting to the semi-final, final of the World Cup, maybe winning the World Cup. And I think things would probably change at that point for men's soccer.
Yeah, I think Dimitri's right too. You need a LeBron that stays and plays in MLS, or that becomes the face of the sport here.
Instead of LeBron,
it's just not going to happen though.
No, you're right. You're right. Because if you're great, you're going to go to a great league.
Because that's where you're going to make the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a yellow on entry number 59. A little aggressive.
All right, Chap, we have another question about the culture of the sport. Who comes up with the choreography and the chants, and how do the fans learn them? And like, where does that all come from? Because it seems like you go to a stadium and 90,000 people are singing the same song. Are these passed down from generation? Is there one ringleader? Like, how does that all come about? Because they're always very creative.
Well, I see. I don't think they're that creative. I think they're using the same chants. You have to remember. You have to remember though that that they're so drunk. You need something simple if you're going to remember the words.
Right.
Like when you're completely like pissed, you have to have a simple chant when you're in the stands there to remember. And if you notice, they're very slurry. Come the second half, 80 minutes in, that's the time when you're either puking or having a fight.
Are they generational and they change the names for like the current player, or is it
there
a message board? Is there rehearsals?
Oh, there's no rehearsal. They're always out of tune. I mean, a lot of the teams have like when the Saints go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, that's our the Tottenham, one of the Tottenham chants, glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. But a lot of the teams use the same tunes and then just change it up, I've noticed. But the insults to the players on the pitch, like if Tottenham were playing Arsenal, one of the biggest games, like they call that the North London Derby, or one of the main North London derbies, you're getting so much shit talk and roasting from team to team. It's fantastic.
It's just like how they switch king and queen with God save the whoever is in the throne.
James from Pedro has a request for you, Chappy. Tell them the story.
I know
You'll never walk alone.
You mean the Liverpool? I don't know. We need to get James on. I don't know the full story. I'm not a Liverpool fan, but that's the Liverpool. That's the most famous Liverpool song, Liverpool chant.
Yeah, there was like some kind of not massacre, but like a group death thing, right? And that's why.
Oh, you mean Hillsborough, like the Hillsborough tragedy? I don't know if it was to do with that, but Liverpool played Sheffield Wednesday in 1989 in the FA Cup, which is one of the biggest cups, and the whole one of the tiers of the stadium collapsed, and that's like one of the most infamous sort of soccer disaster. I mean, they've been looking into that ever since. Whose fault was it? Was it Sheffield Wednesday? Did they try to pack too many people in that day? That sort of thing.
Like
but that was like one of the biggest tragedies.
Right.
And last week there was a tragedy. I guess Liverpool could sing "You'll Never Drive Alone" because whoever was in that minivan ran over a crowd of people.
Yeah, that was sad. That's really sad. They're just trying to out celebrate, and here comes somebody driving through. That's not.
Kaleo said, "I went to a game in '87 in Philadelphia and dressed as Moses Malone."
Get more Daryl Dawkins.
Chocolate Thunder.
Right.
By the way, I believe the manager for Inter just got a yellow as well. When the manager gets a yellow, that's something.
For what, being like berating?
It happens.
Referee.
It happens a lot. I think Jose Mourinho, infamous soccer manager, he's managed like Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Chelsea many times, Man United, Tottenham. He got red card the other day for pulling somebody on the nut by the nose. The opposition coach at the end of the game, he is pulling him by the nose. I sent that to you, didn't I, Dmitri?
You did.
Thank you, Tony. I'm trying to make it look like I'm not in my kitchen. And Chappy made me this sign.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Chappy, naughty.
Well, naughty Yachty. She's more thoughtful than me. I was just going to give you a couple of those mincemeat pies, but she wanted to do something special for you.
Those are good too.
So, Chappy, you remember Fabio Capello?
Yes. Yeah. Great Italian manager, managed England as well for a while. Couldn't speak English. He had to learn English, and he never really learned. He's not one of our greatest managers, but much better Italian league manager.
Well, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back because I have something to show you.
Ooh.
Okay.
Tony's he's not LeBron.
So
he's got a.
We're at the 61st minute here.
Oh, yeah, I mean it's. But I mean they were. I've just been reading some of the talking heads on the BBC, and you know, can they turn this around? What are the chances of Paris Saint-Germain throwing it away? So it's only happened, I think, in 1956 and 1962, where a team's come back. Reims, who lost to Real Madrid, came back and won 4-3. Mm-hmm. And then Real Madrid, AC Milan against Benfica in 1962, came back and won 5-3. So, I mean, it does happen, but this team, I know, I can't see them coming back against PSG. But you see, everybody's getting a little bit tense, including the manager of Inter Milan, Inzaghi, who, as you said, just got yellow carded as well. But that's more common than you think with the managers these days. I've seen, as I said, Mourinho. Oh, look at that! Wow.
Did you just see that the near goal, the pass and the goal, almost goal for PSG? That was great action. And they just got a corner that didn't go.
Or as Gus Johnson would say, a corner.
This is what I mean. As a try to be more aggressive, a team that's not normally particularly aggressive and attacking, if they're trying to push people forward on the break and the counter attack, then PSG will score a few more goals. That's an amazing shirt, by the way. England shirt with guess Fabio Capella's signature.
Supposedly.
Nice.
So the Rapids at the end of every season, they would have a garage sale. And we would go through and find stuff. And I don't know how this was still sitting there, but I got it for like $10.
That's crazy.
I mean, we have so much autographed stuff in our closet right now and nowhere to put it. But yeah, I bet Omar Cummings or somebody signed that. That's probably not even his autograph.
Cummings.
But
I mean,
here comes another.
That's a great jersey, but with one of the least successful managers' names on it. You know, it's like there's always a memorabilia out there that's probably not quite so good. And if that was a 1966 jersey, you know, that would be going for.
We gotta go.
There we go.
PSG up 3-0.
Look, I have a Volkswagen jersey signed by him. No, I don't want that
If I look like that dude, I wouldn't wear my shirt either.
Take it off anytime you could, right?
More, dude.
Good for him. What? He's got it. What? He's like 20. He's got
Dave
to
is
be
like,
21.
I'm going to Desire if I look like that.
I ate half a pizza before this show. I will never look like that, man.
This is what I was snacking on before we came on. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
See, Dave's actually taking me to dinner tonight.
Yeah.
It's not just like it's not a date.
We're going to Papa
but we're going to Papa Do's. What should I order there though? That's that. You know, what's the bit? But I don't think I've been there in a long time. If I've ever been there before.
Well, my biggest thing is don't order anything that you feel like you need to take leftovers home, because they'll be in V-Rod's car and it'll be seafood and during the hot Yacht Rock concert, and then you won't want to eat it, and then V-Rod's car will smell like seafood. So something that you feel you don't need to bring home with you.
Well, she's going to have
there is a joke.
Years, it'll air out.
There is a joke there, but I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, we don't want to
leave that behind.
Wow. So Papa Do's is you know, you can go for fried. I mean, fried is easy at Papa Do's, but it's always good to get their whatever the freshest thing they have on the menu, I guess. So something prepared nicely, you know, a good salad, and you know, don't fill up on the bread because the bread will take you out.
V-Rod likes the gumbo, the seafood gumbo. They've got a fondue that she really likes. Some pasta.
Yeah,
they've got.
It's the same. It's the same issue though. Wearing yacht rock white pants and on a Zempic, I'm gonna have to do. I might just stick to the bread, to be honest.
We're going to the Yacht Rock concert afterwards.
And what kind? Who's at the concert?
It's Yacht Rock Review. It's a cover band, but they're really good. We saw them open up for Kenny Loggins, and they're phenomenal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And they're at Fiddler's?
They're at Fiddler's, a cover band at Fiddler's.
That's crazy. Wow.
I know. At Fiddler's prices too.
They must be that good.
It wasn't that bad, but yeah. But they're really good. They've got like a 9-person band, and they're a couple of singers, and they knock it out of the park.
That's cool. That'll be fun.
What's weird is we have section 100 tickets, but they're not assigned. So it's kind of first come, first serve in the section. It's really weird. Apparently you just got to elbow your way into seats. And yeah, why sell 100 section tickets and not assign them? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's how it was when we went to the Austin Grand Prix. Luckily we had like younger people with us who went and staked out where we were sitting.
Yeah.
Because again, it was like the Hunger Games. People would jump in the fence, and it was, yeah, I would have had a horrible time if we didn't have some millennials with us. So thank you, millennials. I kind of like y'all.
Barely.
Yeah.
James Pedro, co-sign Yacht Rock Review. There's another group. I don't know if they're rivals, but they're called Yachtly Crew, and I just like the name.
Maybe we should make a Yacht Rock Review band and call it. What would we call it? Yacht. No.
Man overboard.
Yacht on my watch.
Yacht on my watch. That's actually really good.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. So Douay, who had scored 2 goals for PSG, has been taken out. So he's been subbed in. So he's done for the day. And, you know, he might get, what is the MVP?
Man of the match.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll probably, I mean, they want to wrap that guy in cotton wool, because he's, I mean, he's so good. This is the last game for them this season. But, you know, they'll probably bring more, I would imagine, more defenders on, just block it up a little bit at the back. So there's no way for Inter Milan to get back into the game.
7-7.
2-7.
You don't know who was rocking the one.
James says, some like a yacht.
That's good.
That's good. Pat, Yacht Rock audiences are notoriously rowdy.
Is that true?
No, but they are obnoxious. They're all drunk and obnoxious. They all wear captain's hats. It's great.
Captain's hats. Yeah.
V-Rod was like, you want to wear captain's hats? I was like, no, there's going to be 5,000 douchebags wearing captain's hats.
just enjoy the time. So I have a question for Dmitri and for Chappy, 2, as a matter of fact. Two. The first one is, what are your thoughts about the upcoming Club World Cup?
I'll let the expert go first because I've never really been a fan of the Club World Cup because, I mean, Arsenal until recently has been like the Dallas Cowboys. So I just support them from afar, and that's it.
I think it's the same, Kendall, as like the super leagues that they tried to create a few years ago. So there were discussions that the top English teams, the top German, top Italian, top French teams would make this sort of this super club championship, and it just never came to fruition. I mean, the trouble is that would throttle the teams lower down in terms of finances. I mean, it would have been such a bad thing for the English Premier League because all the money that even the lower teams of the league, close to relegation, like Tottenham this year, it was so much more money would be pushed to the top again. So that never happened. And I think it's the same. It's the same with when I guess the administrators, the broadcasters see an opportunity to make even more money, but it's watering down the joy of the game. I mean, less is more sometimes, and I think I've always been a proponent, you've got the proper World Cup every 4 years. That's I like it that way, There's too many games. It turned out into like baseball where you've got all these games in a season. It becomes overkill.
And there's no off season for the teams that are going to play in this, at least the European teams, because you have MLS is going to continue on, but the other teams, the Mexican teams, the European teams, those teams, you're playing in what would normally be your off season in this Club World Cup here over the next month here in the States. So it just seems like, and I would imagine that they're going to play probably not all of their best players all the time. They're just going to probably bring up some of the, reserves to do some damage here. But I was not aware of it until maybe a week and a half ago, which is again another black eye, if you will, on watching soccer in America or the advertisement for it or whatever. You would think this would be a much bigger deal here, especially because in the US, we're entering that time where it's almost like a sports wasteland, and not to be overly critical of baseball, but there's 162 games and you're in the middle of summer. Basketball is going to be over in 2 weeks. Hockey's going to be over in 2 weeks. We've got 2 months until we get to football. So you have this wide span for these soccer clubs to come in and actually get some interest, but I don't know how many people actually know about this the Club World Cup. So that's why I wanted to know your opinion on it.
I heard, I read about it. There's a lot of dissent amongst some of the smaller teams about this as well. But you're right, there's no off season, and you've got the situation where a lot of these years in the summertime they're playing World Cup or Euro Championships, and they're doing the warm-ups for those or the friendly games, and then the actual tournament. And then 3 weeks later, come August, up starts, Serie A, the Bundesliga, EPL. You're right. There's never any break for these guys.
And the World Cup is next year.
Goal!
How did we get in front of you?
PSG, another goal.
Because I saw that one a few seconds ago, and now you just saw it. So,
oh wow,
was there a shift in the matrix?
Maybe. It's quite possible. Maybe.
Yeah, another one of their young players as well just scored as well. Kavisha. I mean, he's another 19-year-old that they have. This is the glory of this team. I mean, if they can keep this team together, which is going to be difficult because you've got, Milan, Barcelona, AC Milan, Manchester City. These sort of teams will be vying to bring these players on board. But you keep a squad like this together for, the next 5-6 years is going to be groundbreaking stuff, really.
That's how I felt about Arsenal, because back we had some great players, but then like Van Persie, he had like a monster year or a monster a couple years, and then they ended up selling him. He went to. Did he go to Chelsea or?
Yeah, I think he spent some time at Chelsea. Yeah,
it's like we were a farm team. We would get all these players to show what they had, and then just sell them somewhere else. And Arsenal was horrible. They were the Dallas Cowboys of the EPL.
Chappy, why did they let fireworks into the soccer match? Why are people blowing? Why is the stands behind the goal on fire?
You don't have that in.
You can't bring the lid on the bottle. They take, so it's not a projectile. They confiscate this, but they got pyrotechnics, and these are fan pyrotechnics behind. By the way, if you're the goalie, you just gave up your 4th goal, and now you're going to set off fireworks behind me. Like, no, we're fighting. What is this?
I think you're misunderstanding. That's 5,000 Frenchmen lighting up a Marlboro Red at the same time.
In a Serie A match, you will see them in the crowd smoking cigarettes. So
yeah. I mean, it's a lot more lax over there. You can bring some things into the stadiums. I mean, it's scary sometimes. You know, these sort of
bananas to throw in Mario Balotelli.
Yeah, a lot of people saying give them the trophy now.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be late to the Dodgers game.
No, I'll be on time because they're not coming back from this.
Where are your
seats? They're corporate seats.
Ooh.
So they're going to be first level. So if you watch the game on Fox, you might see me. Maybe I don't know. I'm not all the way down front, which is where Mary Hart sits. Yes, that Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight fame. Mary Hart has season tickets at the Dodgers game, and she has for 40 years. And she gets the really, really nice seats. Ours aren't that nice, but they're still down pretty low.
Do you see that fan?
This is Kendall. This is Kendall at the event here with his Moët Chardon. You know.
Yes, of course.
Yes. This is Inter's manager.
Throw in the damn towel.
Did you see that dude crying? I love my sports teams. You're not going to catch me on TV going no Sean Moreno.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, this guy still makes $5 million a year. Damn him. Why am I going to cry?
It seems
I
like
did almost
especially
cry once.
With soccer, specifically, there is the fans. Yeah, we have passionate fans for football and basketball in the States and baseball to a degree, but good grief. I mean, the soccer fans, I mean, live, breathe all of this. And for something like the championship of Europe, there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of people that are going to be very upset. And meanwhile, they're going to just tear up Paris because this is the treble, right? They got the club championship, the country, and now they got the Euro. So they got all three, right?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just reading about this young fellow who just scored, and I can't even pronounce. I can do Kuvica, but I have no clue how to say his last name. I think we should all try to pronounce that last name there.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Because I used to do
Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah. Hold on.
Kvaratskhelia, something like that.
I doing those basketball games.
That's good. Yeah.
So he's ended up with an Italian league, Serie A, which is like the Premier League title, Liga 1 title medal, and the Champions League. If it continues like this, which 4-0 up, there's no doubt. That's a hell of a season for the young guy, you know?
That's cool.
Kuvica, Kvaratskhelia.
I just call him K. What's going on, K?
One of my nightmares is a public address announcer or names like that. I would.
How would you warm up to get that? Would you have to do some serious? I was going to say oral exercises. That gets the wrong idea. But
fake a stroke. Oh, I can't do it.
So what I would do, and for MLS, after a while, you got used to some of the names because once the players were there for a season or two, you got used to them. But for every game that we did, I would know, obviously, our team, the Rapids, I would know their names, get them down. But for visiting teams, I would like to look at their roster about 2 or 3 days ahead of time just to see if there was any difficult names on there that I didn't know. And then what I would do, I would go back and listen to their broadcasts
Nice.
and listen to how their guys or ladies would pronounce the name. And I would get that in my head. It's like, okay, now I have it. And then if we were lucky enough, because 9 times out of 10, they had a traveling team that would come with them, and they would come to the booth where I was doing the announcing beforehand, asking me if I had any questions about pronunciation. And some of the really good ones would say, hey, let's just go over them just so I could say them correctly. And that was nice that they had people there to say it. And then they actually also had some pronunciation keys that they had printed up. So I was well equipped, but I had to start early because if I knew that the other team had a couple of names that were kind of questionable, I'd work on it a couple of days in advance to kind of hear myself say it and then hear other people say it. So it's almost like a Duolingo type deal, just to really see what was going on.
It
That's like
seems
the
like
guy. I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
it seems like the team's PR professionals would have pronunciation guides for you. Did you ever have a slip up though, like just a brain fart on somebody that's memorable for you?
What was the guy's name?
Any league?
NBA. I didn't have I don't think I had a slip up in the NBA because I was watching the NBA so much then I knew all the names. So yeah, there were no slip ups NBA wise. Soccer, yes, I think I slipped up once or twice, and it wasn't completely noticeable, but mainly in the starting lineup, and those would be those questionable names that I would practice over and over again. And then when the mic was on and I'm trying to do the starting lineups, and I have a full side to do that was before the Rapids, I would maybe lose myself in a name and just kind of power through it really fast, because if you went through it fast enough, people wouldn't really catch it. And especially if it was an opposing team, if it was somebody who was visiting, they didn't care. Now the other team, oh, it's 5-0 now, or almost.
No, he missed it.
Okay, so yeah, the home team. No, although this is what I do. This is one I do remember, and this is before anybody told me. The Rapids had a player, Asian player, and his name was Kosuke, but it was spelled Kosuke. So I thought it was Kazuke. And thank goodness this wasn't in front of 15,000 people. This was maybe in front of maybe 20, 30, possibly. And I announced as Kosuke. And then at the end, somebody put said, no, it's Kosuke. It's like, well, thanks for telling me, because I'm pronouncing it phonetically. That's what it says there. That really was the worst one that I had for the home team, doing it Kosuke instead of Kosuke.
I had his autographed jersey in the closet too.
Kosuke Kimura.
So my first week in Wichita, the big arena for the Wichita State Shockers is owned by the Koch brothers, the notorious evil right-wing Koch brothers.
Yes.
But I didn't know that it was pronounced that way. So I was like, we're giving away tickets to the A1 tournament at the Koch Arena. I literally said that. Come hang out with us at the Koch.
Was that before or after you got your A.W.N tattoo?
Right. It was before. It was such a formative experience. I couldn't help myself afterwards.
Well, we have the guy on our USL team here. They say his name is Nigro. It's not Nigro because that's not the way the letters are set up. His name is Negro. And we had a conversation about it. And I was like, his name is Negro, but that PR team is not going to let the announcer be saying Negro all night in downtown Las Vegas. So he is Nigro. That's how he got, I missed again. That's how he got that name.
Yes.
Can't be in all those rhythmics. Screaming Negro. I mean, I can, but
probably not the best thing to have going on at a soccer match, especially because there's potential for some things to go down.
Yeah.
And really, it's only me and like 4 other black people at those games. So, I mean, they would be safe until some of the real rhythmics came in, like the rhythmics and rolling shows that you don't ever see until he goes on air. Now, if they show up to a game, there could be some smoke in the city.
Tusa, am I allowed to say it?
What, nougat?
Don't you try to catch me out yesterday on that. At least they're real people though, unlike some shows. You're not pumping in the fembots.
Fembots.
Atusa's saying in the chat.
Yeah,
sorry, carry on, Kendall. After you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Chappy. Yours is more important than mine.
Atusa's saying that her Momo Chang, her mum, just asked if my voice was Pete Miser doing a really good English accent for once. Thanks very much. She didn't think I'm authentic enough here. But sorry, carry on, Kendall. What were you saying, sir?
Looking at Kaleo, I had a guy on my flag football team named Tony Ballsack.
And now he's Tony Top Deck.
There was you were mentioning the soccer player. Then there's now the football player. That is Kaniga, that guy.
I'm getting that.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? What's going on? And I just want to see. I think he played this year for some college. I don't know exactly which one.
Didn't he go to West Virginia?
I don't know. I got to see
the family of them.
Yeah, there's a whole family.
I hope
they moved in.
Yes, they moved into the neighborhood.
That's shocking to me because you're black.
This is where things go off the rails with only 5 minutes remaining in a 4-0 lead.
He plays at Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan. Okay. Joseph Kaniga. Yes.
I'm getting that jersey. And watch, Baltimore is going to draft him if he goes to the league. This is going to be one of the Living in America cities.
Oh my God.
Here comes goal 5 on your TV screen shortly.
Okay.
I'm still hoping that I'm going to be able to wear the KPs at some point in the future. I've been waiting for that. Got my fingers crossed.
Yes. Well, if it wasn't for these tariffs.
Oh yeah, Kaleo Grady Dick. Grady Dick is the player for Houston.
Grady Dick. Wow. That's crazy.
Did you say is his name Grady or Grainy Dick?
Grady.
Grady. Okay. Let's say Grainy Dick. You need to get some ointment for that.
Yeah.
You haven't sent me the ointment yet to give me the allergic reaction.
Well, I'm just worried that if you put that ointment on, it may cause it may cause Yellowstone to blow. It could be the problem. It could end America if you put that enlargement ointment on.
Oh my
you're sending me the socks too, so I could tuck in the sock and then we'll be all right.
Well, you could have the problem also where it could have the opposite effect and it becomes inverted, and then you're going to be chasing me down. I'm across the country.
Yep, I definitely would.
Okay, so the 4 of us are going to be going on to Mexico, right? Everybody's going to Mexico next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have time for this, but I think after yesterday, I think we all need to just rock the European one day.
Oh,
we've got to rock the European bathing suit.
Absolutely.
We need to get matching European bathing suits. And
Kaleo, you in? Kaleo?
I think everybody. I think all of the men or men identifying, if you will, should get the European suit for one dip.
I love it.
I mean, I only want them because I got terrible varicose veins and they're a little bit tight, so they hold everything in.
We should do a live stream in them from Mexico.
That's right. I'm for it.
Said a can of raid. What kind of man do you deal with, Tusa?
I just also never recommend doing a broadcast with a full handlebar mustache. That was the most uncomfortable part I don't know. I don't know too many people with those, but that was holding that on for the whole time was awful.
I'm sure that was itchy, very itchy.
Very, 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 very itchy.
Mm.
And I warn you, those pantaloons, those striped pantaloons, whatever you want to call them, they're not the most comfortable as well. They're a little itchy. And I imagine a day on the beach, there'd be all sorts of sand and chafing going on. So
made of wool? Is it a wool swimsuit?
It's definitely not man-made material. It's man-made material. There's nothing natural in there.
Is there a pee hole?
The only thing,
or is it like a onesie? Do we have to go?
No, you had to pull it. You had to pull it down.
Or do you kind of pull the leg up and pull it out to the side?
Well, if you're more generous, then yeah, just lift the leg up slightly.
Right. Or do you just go in the ocean and do it there?
If you've got the ointment, then you're tucking it in the sock at the bottom. That's where that comes in handy as well.
Keep a shot glass in your sock.
That's what the kids are calling it these days.
So if you're Interpol, do you tell the ref we don't need the extra time? You can keep your 3 extra minutes, or do you still have to play them?
No, you have to keep playing. What I was going to ask, though, I've noticed in America with kids sport, if it's like a rout, 10-0, 10-0, they stop the game, don't they? In the UK, you'd keep playing. It'd be 50-0.
Really?
And they would say play up, it'll make a man out of you or whatever, stupid sexist remarks they used to say.
Oh,
that's what they did.
Yeah. They still do that in I think they still do that in softball. I don't know if they do it in the College World Series in the softball, but I know that it's if it's 10-0 if they score 10 runs in an inning, it's done. Something like that. Something like that in softball.
They should make them play the entire time. It's what if your house is going to get foreclosed on? You could say, okay, I give up. It's too rough. No, they coming to get that house. That teaches you a life lesson.
When we play football, it was 5 touchdowns, and then you had to be on all-time defense.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was weird.
Wow.
Oh, and in soccer, with my godson, they let the losing team, the ones that getting blown out, they get an additional person. Then if they score more goals, they get another person. So
weird.
Yeah, it was. But the thing is, that sport though, there's good days and bad days. On the bad days, it can be really bad and affect you. On the good days, you forget about it. You can't stop a game though. You have to keep play to the end.
Right.
Yep.
Well, congratulations to PSG. That was there was no drama there at all.
It's a rout.
Total rout.
I started to put some money on it too. The last game I bet on was in the Euros when Portugal played whoever they played, and Ronaldo got hurt in the first few minutes. And I was like, this is why you don't bet on stuff. But they ended up winning anyway. So I counted my blessings and got my money, and I've never betted again on that.
There you go. Yeah.
I think of all the betting you can do, I think sports betting is the most fun. I don't do the slot machines or anything like that, anything around. But in sports, you can look at the form, whether it's a horse or a team. It's much more fun for me. Really enjoy putting a few, not very much money, but it's good fun to do that. And it's only become legal recently, I believe, isn't it? They had off-track betting or whatever for many years, but now it's legal and you can advertise. These betting companies are advertising everything else.
Well, Matt Groh has a casino.
It's only legal in certain states. But the daily fantasy is legal in a lot of states, but not everyone. But the day-to-day sports betting, California, you can't day-to-day sports bet like that, but you can in Colorado.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the weed thing. A couple states did it. Colorado was first in weed and gambling.
How about it?
But you don't want to have gamble and take weed at the same time. Make some bad decisions.
Well, Chappy, they've outlawed front of jersey sponsors like the sports, like the gambling sites. I think that's going away next season. So the people that have it, or 2 seasons from now. So betwhatever.com, that I don't think Chelsea has it, but whichever teams have it, they won't be allowed to have those anymore.
It's like
Wow.
back in the day. Bet you remember the days. I remember like when Benson and Hedges and Marlboro and all the tobacco companies used to do all the sports sponsorship. I mean that
Especially
went out
in
of the
NASCAR.
window. Yeah,
Yeah, it was the Winston Cup.
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
This segment brought to you by Mac Bros Casino.
If you play pussy, you gonna get.
Mommyism.
So when we do this again, though, it'd be quite interesting because I don't know all of you guys. I know probably big, NFL fans, but what are your specialties in terms of knowledge? Because this is, I know soccer, rugby, tennis, cricket, golf. They're the ones that I know a lot about. How about you guys, though? What are your specialties? What are your favorites?
Titties.
Ooh,
And that's about it.
But you know more about that than any of us. It's not an even playing field.
When it comes to sports, it's for me basketball and football.
Same here.
Those
That would
are
be
the
me too.
two biggest ones. I'll watch hockey, but I am definitely no hockey expert. I'm just watching to see where the puck is, and it'd be good to have somebody who knew a little bit of hockey as far as that goes. But yeah, basketball and football are my main.
We should watch the Ocho together one day.
We should. We really
That would
should.
be so amazing. I saw the one where they had, maybe Diddy sponsored this because they had like the baby oil or something.
Oh
when
no!
You had to like go up the hill.
You had to climb up the.
That's great.
Well, why don't we look and see when they're going to do that again? It's usually sometime in July when there's nothing else going on. Like probably during Major League Baseball All-Star week, there's very little going on. That's when they break out a whole day of the Ocho. So maybe we can find something. I don't know.
That's such a great channel. I don't know why they need to just bring it back. I would do pay-per-view for the Ocho.
All kinds of
what did it consist? What did it consist of though? I've never seen it or heard of it before.
So they do all of the quote unquote non-traditional sports or whatnot on the Ocho, and there's everything from like there's wiffle ball. So there was one. Here's one we saw that was strange because they were running some Ocho programming last 2 weekends ago, actually for my birthday, and Snarky and I were just flipping around, and they had something called roof ball, and it was in the neighborhood, and these guys were just throwing a football to see if they could hit the chimney. That was it.
Fun. That sounds fun.
So it was called roof ball, and you throw the ball, see if you hit the chimney, and then you add up the points. It was like the national roof ball championship in somebody's neighborhood. So you have that. You have this slip and slide thing that Real Estate Poppy just brought up. This
is that like the baby oil slip and slide?
Yeah, which is it's stair climbing with baby oil, which is very.
I'm going to.
How about it? We've got a
weird.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like fun.
That's just, it looks painful.
Well, then when people get to the top, they'll like hit the person in front of them, so they have to come back down so they can try to win, and it's amazing. We should. I
think I've seen a movie like this before, but they're all naked doing it. But
it's called a freak off.
No traction. I tell you what we need to do next year though, and it's always in May, and we missed it this year. Is the Gloucestershire cheese rolling competition.
Oh yeah,
where the wheel of cheese goes down the hill and everybody chases after it. Now that's something I'd like to see on this channel.
Was that like human rock'em sock'em robots?
It was, and this is
yeah. Oh yeah, look at that
gigantic rock'em sock'em. And this is soccer. What is this?
Pong?
What is ping pong with your
head? The butcher and Hetty Potter.
They must
Hetty Potter.
They must have a game where you're cracking a couple of walnuts between a cleavage or something. There has to be one of those games going on.
Oh,
if not, you need to.
It's
Radioactive
dodgeball, but you have to
wrestling.
protect the juggler.
Oh. This is better than baseball. All of these are better than baseball.
Is somebody juggling in the background? And
Yeah.
You have to protect the juggler. I love that.
Pizza tossing, acrobatic pizza tossing. Fantastic.
What Italians are good at.
oh, look at that. Is he using his feet as well?
Yeah.
I'd love to see him like toss up the third leg as well. That would be
Stone
that'd be
skipping
something.
championship. Excellent.
They got a crowd too. Look at that.
This must be in Kentucky.
Pennsylvania, it said.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
They need to do some drug testing on that. That guy got it way across the pond there.
This is in
Sign
Vegas.
spinning championship. That was at that's downtown.
Fremont Street.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to land on the point though, do you?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, V-Rod says hello.
Hello, V.
Hello.
Hello
Oh,
there.
that's the first time she's ever been on streaming camera.
First time she's ever been on camera. She's
I didn't even
got
see her.
jerky in her mouth too. She's
Okay.
She's got what in her mouth?
she's chomping
What?
on some jerky.
Did y'all
Oh,
see
okay.
when they threw
Sorry.
a wrench? Hold on.
Wrench
I mean,
throwing?
She just said a bitch is hungry, so we're gonna be wrapping up soon.
She's ready to go to Papados. She ready. She ready.
So I'd
Look
love
like
to see that
between-
Italian guy trying to spin a Chicago pizza on his foot.
Right?
That would be a whole different matter.
Good luck.
It was on the transition. There was a wrench that went and hit the seed.
That defender just completely screwed the juggler on that one. That was a terrible
Oh my gosh.
defense of the
Oh,
juggler.
maybe it was farther back. It's not.
I'd be down
that
with doing
important.
the Ocho one to see. We have to see because what they'll do with the Ocho now is they like every hour is devoted to one thing. So
Oh,
when they finally do put out the schedule for it, we'll have to find out what day it's on and maybe pick a prime time event to watch on the Ocho. That'd be fun.
now Rep just needs to find these highlight reels and we can judge the sports based off 8-second clips.
Or that too.
This was a 2-minute one. I mean, I skipped the 6-minute one, so let's do that. The older ones are
Yeah,
probably better anyway.
I'd love to hear Jim Nance calling this. That'd be fantastic.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Stone Skip Championship.
Exactly.
A tradition like no other.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, stone skipping, slippery stairs, pillow fight.
What's the song they play at the end of the March Madness?
One shining moment.
One shining moment, our juggler got hit in the balls. Is
You see the
skip
flip?
this one?
Ooh,
that
Pillow fighting.
Pillow fighting?
that's taking me back to my school days.
How
Oh,
dare you, James from Pedro? How dare you? Pull out game week, James.
this is crazy. All right, I'm down.
Oh,
We'll find some more.
makeup on. All right.
It's like Doink the Clown. Okay.
I was thinking about Doink the other day when I was watching the Dusty Rhodes thing when he had on the coyote coat. Like, fly, went out on Cashmere. Whoo!
I drank a little
That's
bit
that-
here now.
That's not memory foam there, is it?
I'm sure it's not.
See, the ladies is where it's at.
You got to be equal opportunity pillow fighters in this case.
There are certain sports where I prefer to watch the female athletes, and
I'm
that's
sure.
one of them.
I'm sure there is.
Tennis is the same. I think women's tennis is better than men's tennis, and I think pillow fighting is better than men's.
Tennis.
I've always
pillow fighting.
Yeah. I've always wondered how they can keep, so many balls up the skirt leg, that when they tuck them up there. I saw Martina Navratilova pull out 5 one time. That was pretty amazing.
The comments made by Chappy.
I think it's time for them to eat and for me to get ready for this baseball game.
I think so too.
James,
It's been a lot of fun.
Jason Baton, Kendall.
Yes, I'm going to be looking for celebrities at the game.
All right.
Yes.
Say hello to Larry David. He loves to pop up there, I think.
Yes, indeed. I'll be looking around.
Well, he'll be at the Knicks game today, won't he?
Or maybe watching it, right? Yeah.
He's a big. Yeah.
Knicks and Pacers tonight too. That's a big game.
Rep, thanks for putting this together. Thank you for all the social media assets.
Thank you.
Running
Yes.
this was great.
Well, thank you guys for doing it. Yeah. Again, now I have 3 professionals I'm on here with, and I'm just here. So it's like my make-a-wish.
It's so much fun though, and the titles at the beginning. I love that, the classical. We've got balls.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Chef kiss.
It was beautiful. Thank you for putting that together. Hey, Michelle, Airstream Queen.
Hey, hello, Michelle.
Yep, and on our way out, since Michelle is telling us bye.
And there's that. Who's got what coming up this week? Dave, are you and V-Rod doing something tomorrow?
No.
You're off tomorrow. Okay.
I might, maybe. We have friends coming over for a farewell barbecue at the time we normally go on.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we might do something beforehand.
Okay.
Possibly, maybe.
All right.
I'm not going to tear down my gear. How about that?
Okay. There's that.
I am doing nothing. Well, working, but
the hard way on Tuesday night.
I'm taking a break till Wednesday. I'm just going to be a listener for a few days. It's been a busy week.
Thank you, Pat, for being here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This
Thank
is
you.
fun. I mean,
Pat's tonight on Station Head at 7.
Pat's on tonight. If you've had a few too many beverages or anything else, Pat's the one to listen to tonight
on Station Head.
I'm gonna go start my beverages as soon as we get off of here. Put my grandmama's couch cover up, and then we will, I guess, do it next time. And Decassius is out there grabbing rugby nuts.
There you go.
And thank you, Doctor. I think I'm gonna play our intro to get us out of here.
I like it.
All right,
Thank
see you
you
guys. Thank y'all again.
Thanks, gents. Have a good one. Bye.
Take care.